back, watch me jump.
Hey guys, so I want to do something a little bit different today. I want to go over some stuff about lights in general. A lot of people don't seem to know too much about lighting, and it's kind of not, I wouldn't say sad, but the fact that there's no like real very in-depth tutorial about lighting kind of sucks. Because as a new person, you're looking at Cinema 4D and you're trying to figure out what lighting is and stuff, and there's not really that much about it, as far as just like learning everything about lighting. So what I'm going to do here is show you guys maybe some stuff that you don't know. I won't go into a scene with this yet, but I just want to show you guys some cool stuff you can do with lighting. Okay, so let me position this one a little bit over, and I will talk about what I'm doing exactly with each of these. Okay, so first of all, I've already talked about general stuff with light, but now it's time to actually show you guys what I mean about it. So remember how I said, I don't know if you guys have seen my very first lighting video or whatever, but basically I talk about fall off and how this is physically accurate and how this is realistic. I don't know any case where you won't have to put this setting on. I always add this setting on because it's realistic, but there will never be a case, I don't think, where you shouldn't have this on. So whenever you put a light in your scene, you should always add or go to details and switch this on. It makes things so much better. And basically what that does is it basically just does the size of how far your light can go. It's like a fall off. Actually, it is a fall off, but so yeah. So basically what I have here is a different versions of each light. So basically this one is a visible light. Visible light is light that can pass through any object. So it's more like a glow in that case. Volumetric light is light that can't pass through objects. So you would use a volume light, or a volumetric light, when you really want to cast maybe like light shadows or something like that with it. So if I put a cube here and I put it right in between this little circle right here, for this is the visible light and this is the volumetric, and you'll see that different things happen with each one. So I'm going to render this really quick, and then I'm going to show you guys what each one does. Okay, so basically, as you can see with this one, the light goes straight through it. Like, you can put it as far in as you want and you won't get any shadows or anything like that. With this, you can see that the cube does not allow the light to pass through. The light has to go around it. Now with this right here, this is the same thing as this, but with turbulence and stuff on it. So if I go to the green light, you can see it's a volumetric, and if you go to noise, you can turn on, this turbulence effect, right? And I'm going to copy this cube again. And we're going to put it right here, smack dab in the middle of this. And then you'll be able to see. Let's also make a material for these planes. Okay. So now you can see that this kind of engulfs it, and it kind of leaves like a little casting mark on it. So you can see like there's a difference between each light, and there's different scenarios where you would have to use different ones. Now the purple and the pink lights, one is just a regular light, no, you know, no real settings besides having the physically accurate on, except it has shadow maps. And right here for this is just a regular light, no shadow maps, no nothing. Another thing I want to let you guys know is this right here is super important. No illumination. So what that basically is means that your light will not cast any light. It's just gonna cast the visible stuff. So basically, if I turn this on, you can see now it's casting light. You turn it off, it's not casting light, but you still get to see this. So it's a great way to add like glow to any of your objects without having light on. And then you can easily just turn the lights on for these, and you can see that it's actually doing a little bit more. So it's really it's good to keep that stuff in mind, because there's certain situations where you're going to use each one of these. Trying to think if I have an example for you guys to see, and I'm pretty sure I do. Okay, I'm going to show you guys my oven scene, my very famous oven scene, and show you how that. Okay, so basically, for those who don't know, I'm working on a block pack, and it's gonna come out sometime before the end of July. I just got to keep on working on each block, and basically everything's like extruded and looking really nice and stuff. So what I have here is the furnace, and I'm gonna kind of go over what I did to kind of make it. Not the furnace, but the lighting. You can see that if I do this, you'll be able to see that there's lighting, there's volumetric, there is what looks to be like some kind of heat pattern, some smoky heat pattern. So this is kind of what I was talking about, when you will have to use lights in certain ways to get certain effects. I'm gonna stop it after you guys can see what's going on right here. So as you can see, there's like a dusty effect, there's volumetric light, and it looks really nice. So what I'm gonna do is just show you. So basically what I have in here is a spotlight going out, so out of the top. So I have two spotlights, one down here and one up here. I have area shadows on, and they're volumetric lights. Now on both lights, I don't have no illumination on because furnaces generate illumination. So if I didn't want illumination on, I could turn that off and the volumetrics would still go. It's just be a lesser light. But I do like when the inside, this is only if I didn't want the inside to be lit, really. But I do want the inside to be lit. So the spotlights are pointing outwards. So the reason why I didn't use an Omni light is because the Omni light is round. It only projects shadows, in all directions, or volumetric light in all directions. And a lot of times you don't want that. A lot of times I use spotlights because you can get they go in one direction. So they're not bound by, going everywhere and stuff. So two volumetric lights, just general basic, stuff right here. And I set the thing to physically accurate, and you do this and you get more light. You do this, you turn it down and you get less light. And visibility, so this is really important. The visibility tab is super important. So outer distance is basically how far you want the light to go. So for right here, so if I increase this to, like, let's say here, actually we'll do that with both. Let's increase the outer distance to like out here. Now you can see that if we go into here, you can see that it's going way further. or not the actual light, but I mean when this renders, you'll be able to see that the volumetric light travels all this distance you can see right here. So that's how you can increase your distance for your volumetric light. You just had to do the outer distance. Inner distance you probably won't have to mess with unless you want something that's really really blunt. So basically, if you turn this up, basically this is going to be the fall off. So between this line and this line, that's going to be like a fall off between your light. Usually you want to put it to 0 so that way it's super smooth and its transition. If you turn it up to whatever you need it to be, it's going to be kind of blunt, a blunt transition. Trying to think. So brightness. This is another key thing. I'm gonna turn this top light off, right? And so the brightness right now is at 3,500. That's a huge number. But if I were to turn this to like 10, you can see that this line kind of goes out dark. Now what you'll see happens is you'll see the light is still, the regular thing because I didn't change any of the settings for the actual light. But for the visible light, you can see it's so much less. It's hardly visible. Now it's still going the same distance, but you're not going to be able to see it because the visibility is, way down. If I turn this to a value like 5,000, which is crazy, don't do that. Don't do this, kids. You change it to something like 5,000, and you're gonna get a really overblown light that goes the same distance, but it's gonna be really bright starting at the beginning and then falling out small. So basically, that's kind of that. I don't know if that helped really. Yeah, I don't know if that helped really, but as far as my knowledge with lights, that should be a little bit better. And with these are just regular lights to light this. So it's always good to have a couple lights, maybe 4 or 5 in your scene at all times. And this one's just an orange light, just to show some ambience or something. I don't know. Okay, so we're gonna go back to our other scene. So basically, now that we have the fundamentals of that over and stuff, a good thing to show you guys for this would be like, okay, say I wanted to, I don't know, let's make this edible. Let's do this. Let's pretend this is a torch, right? Yes, it's a lovely, lovely torch. And say we wanted to put like a glow on the top. Ooh, a glow super thing. Now there's a few ways you can do this. You can, one, you can just put a light here and just keep it like that. That's awesome. Or you can do this. So basically, you got to think about it. What do you want to happen? Well, what I want to happen is first of all, I want there to be a glow on top, like a actual flame. And second, I want this torch to emit light. So how will you do that? Well, we would make 2 lights, and I'll explain why afterwards. So this bottom light will be our no illumination one. That means that this is going to be our visible light. This is going to be the light that we only have for volumetric. So what we're going to do is we're going to make this a volumetric light. Volumetric or visible. See, it's hard because if you do volumetric, you're not gonna have it pass through here. If you do visible, then it will pass, but it'll look a bit weird. So in this case, we're gonna try visible. We may have to do volumetric. Okay, here's what we're gonna do then. We're gonna make 3 lights. One's gonna be visible. One's going to be volumetric, and the other one is going to be just a regular light. So we're going to do none here. We're going to do soft shadows, and we're going to do orange for all of these. So orange, baby, you're so orange. Okay, so now that we have that, so this light, our actual light, will be right here. Now you won't see it, but it will be there. And we're gonna put this on physically accurate like that, so that way we can get maybe a better look for this. We're gonna put it right there. Now the reason we're putting it right here is that way we get more of a lighting feel for this. Not exactly, you know, anything else, but we're gonna turn this to like 1,000. So now we get a really kind of blown out light. Not really, it's not so blown out, but now what I did right here was let me turn off these two. I did turn off these two, didn't I? Oh, there we go. Okay, so what I did here is basically in this space right here, that's how far the light will travel and like how far it will like affect things. So this is as far as the light will travel. You can see that back here the light's not really reaching too much to this. You got more light here, and then you have even more here. Once I put this light under here, I'm gonna just drag all these over so I can show you guys a little bit better. So we're gonna drag these down. There we go. So as you can see, we're gonna use this light to just do the basic lighting. So if I increase this, that's how far, you know, how much more it will be. So, and we're gonna put it right on top or whatever, like this. Next up, we're going to enable this light. This will be our non-illumination, will be our volumetric light, and we're gonna keep that right around here. So it's gonna give us our things here. Basically, the reason I want a volumetric light is so that way, because realistically you're gonna have some volumetrics with your torch, and you're gonna want things to pass into it or pass through it or by it or whatever, and get that shadow effect that I showed you earlier with the visible light, how it kind of blocks solid objects, block the light or whatever. So you kind of want that if you want, you know, something pretty decent for a torch. So we're gonna have volumetric. We don't need shadows since it's not our actual light. It's just for visibility. We're gonna crank this up to like 500. Sample scale is basically anything that passes through it. So any of like the volumetric shadows and stuff, that they're gonna be a lot more crisp depending on how low this value is. So that looks just about right. And for this, just for the volumetrics, we are going to add both soft turbulence, and we're going to set this to 10. Okay, so that looks about right. Then we're going to turn on our visible light. Okay, we're going to put it pretty much in the same place, if not a little bit lower than the volumetric, and we will turn this to about 200. So it's going to be a little bit lower, but right here in the center you're going to see that it kind of goes through here, and that's kind of what the effect we want. And we're also going to turn this to soft turbulence and turn it to 8 though. And turn this to 5 also. Actually, you don't need to turn it to 5 because it's not volumetric, so you're not going to see any rays or anything. So let's do a quick render. Okay, so what you see here is basically you have the light, you have the volumetric, and then you have the visible. So what we need to do is we need to make the visible maybe a little bit stronger, like 500, but change the change maybe the color so that way it kind of shows like a difference from our other light. And we're gonna make our volumetric just a tiny bit darker. Now the reason for this is that way this is going to be a little bit stronger on the bottom than this will be for a volumetric. So if we do that now you can see that it's kind of like, you know, hey, I'm a torch. So what we need to do now is just reduce the outer distance to maybe something like 200 or something, so that way it doesn't go too far with all of this. We're going to render that again, and now you can see that it's now just doing that. And we want to push this maybe a little bit over here, a little bit up, and crank this to 5. Now we're getting more of what we want. You can see that there's a little bit of volumetric. The yellow kind of passes through. So for the yellow, since we want that to be mainly to kind of hide the torch in a sense, what we need to do is just crank this up a little bit more. So we're going to do 1,000. Might be a little bit overblown, but we'll see. We're going to put ambient occlusion and GI on just to see how that goes. Yeah. And turn on best. Okay. So now this is just going to do some GI, and we have some shadows now, and you can kind of see what I've been doing. And we're most likely just going to put this right here inside. So, and we can't do that with visible, because if a visible light is inside, well, I'll just show you. So the visible light's inside the torch now, and you'll see that you're not going to get any visible light. You're just going to get the what is it called? You're just going to get the visible light. You're not going to get any volumetric. Now if I take the volumetric out like this, you'll be able to see that you're going to get volumetric now, like so. And so basically you just play around with this, but this is just to show you guys that there are ways to do things with lights that maybe you don't know, or maybe you haven't experienced yet. And yeah, and basically if I wanted to, I could just throw in like a bluish light, I don't know, like right here, maybe turn down the outer distance to like 100, and put in like a, I don't know what it's called, like a bluish light, maybe a little bit less, I don't know, like 50, and have it like right here, put it maybe near the back. I don't know what this is gonna do, but so something like this. Hopefully you guys understand, you know, what I'm trying to do here, but if you don't, that's all good too. 100, and we're actually gonna just increase this a bit. Nope, it's not gonna work. It's like, no, nope, I don't like you, blue light. So anyways, that's just kind of example of how to do a little bit more with lights. When we get on to bigger scenes and stuff like that, things where I'm gonna actually have to explain my process and how I'm gonna light the stuff, then yeah, that'll be when I'll actually show you guys how to actually do different things and stuff like that. But this is just, you know, this is just to help you guys out with a little bit more education on how to do that stuff. So I hoped you enjoyed this tutorial. I hoped you maybe found something inspiring about it. I don't know. If you did, just leave a like or something, and let me know that you enjoyed it. Yes. Also, before I go, I do want to point out that if you do have an Omnilight, you can change these parameters right here, and you can kind of customize your light. So for instance, if I wanted like a disc pattern like that, all the volumetric light would only go in like the circle or whatever. And if I needed something long, maybe like lava going down or something like that, then you'd make it, super wide, and you can see now it looks like, the fire's going to heaven or something like that. So it's pretty funny to look at. And as you can see, these, if you put these right in here, you're gonna get a really cool effect with this, or you should get a cool effect. I don't know if it's gonna work. Yeah, you'll get some sort of effect. So yeah, I'll see you guys later. Hope you guys enjoyed everything. So see ya.